recording now. Okay, so who's gonna say hello first?
I'll let you go.
Hello, good people. How do you do?
Hi there. How's it going?
Yeah, so it's just the two of us today, which is a change of pace. Everyone is
Yes.
a weakling that don't deserve to be here.
We love you,
um,
really, David.
oh yeah, him too. uh, um, I mean nothing by it. It is simply fun. So, but
Yes.
yes, today we're talking about a nifty little film called A Promising Young Woman. Um,
Woo.
yeah, which is a little film that Amy brought us.
I did.
Yeah, I was thinking, how can I continue that sentence? And I just realized, no, there's no need to continue it. You can just
You're
end it
just like,
there.
I'm done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
context is there. It's fine. Just leave it
Yeah.
be.
I get it. The need to over-explain things.
Yeah. So, because you are the person that brought this film up, why don't you give
Sure.
us a brief whatchamacallit of the whatchamacallit?
Okay. So it's basically a film about a woman named Cassie, and she's a medical school dropout. And so, like, she's kind of spending her evenings each night pretending to be drunk, and she ends up getting picked up by nice guys, quotation marks. They pretend to help her, but really they attempt to take advantage of her. But obviously she is stone cold sober, so she then confronts the men, and this story is kind of a little bit like a character study of someone's grief over something horrible happening to their friend, and then processing it in a way of like basically revenge. And obviously we'll talk about it a bit more in detail, but that's like the rundown of the film basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
um,
There
not for the
will be
faint of heart.
spoilers. It's definitely not. I would go into this with a if you are, you know, if you are someone where, uncomfortable scenes of, well,
Let's just say
almost
it's not for Christmas dinner.
no, it's not a family movie.
If you do
But I
choose to
do
watch it,
think
oh, go on.
sorry, as I was gonna say, but I do think if it isn't triggering, then I definitely think most people should watch it because it does kind of bring to light a conversation a lot of people aren't willing to like have.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Sorry, awkward silence there.
no, I was just processing that. Like, I mean, granted, we'll go on to this in a little bit more detail, or a lot more detail rather, as we talk about it more. But um, there seems to be, like, at least from what I've seen online and people talking, this a bit of a distinctive, not really access, but a noticeable discussion about things like this, especially over the
Yeah.
past 2 years.
Yeah.
So,
I just mean like in terms of like when it's been discussed as people who have outrightly like attacked somebody, whereas this film kind of goes into lots of people that haven't been involved in the attack can still be culpable in causing harm. And what I feel is like I feel like a lot of people aren't willing to sort of take a look at themselves and be like, "Oh, have I done something similar?" Like victim blaming. Because I know for a fact, like, not in terms of someone saying they've been attacked and I've not believed them, but I have victim blamed people for, say, like, drug addiction because I didn't know much about it. And I was like, oh, it's their choice. And it's like, it's very much not a choice. It's, you know, like, when I learned more about it, it was like, obviously, this is something that a lot of people struggle with.
yeah, and I think that comes quite a bit with the territory of just being
Yeah.
naive about the subject that you're talking about at that particular point in time. And now you do know
Yeah,
better.
exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I feel like some people aren't willing to be like, oh, actually, I've done that, and that's cool. I should maybe change. A lot of people are like, I'm not like that, that's not me, and then just that's the end of it.
Okay, so what you mean by raising awareness for a conversation? You mean the fact that rather not just focusing on the victim and the attacker, insert synonym.
Society.
Um, it's
Yeah.
the people surrounding the event as well that are choosing to either speak up
Yeah.
or do not as well.
Ignore it. Yeah. Because
Okay.
I feel like the other side of the conversation, like this person's done this horrible act is very much talked about, and it's good that that's been brought up, but a lot of people don't see the people who victim blame and everything else that goes on with it, because it's like if you report an attack, you have so much more trauma that you're going to go through, and I think a lot of people just kind of think, oh well, if someone hurts you, then you just tell the police, and I feel like a lot of people just kind of leave it at that and don't really consider like everything else that goes with that kind of situation. I feel like I'm doing a really bad job of explaining myself here.
Well, someone will definitely let us know if they watch it.
Yeah, they'll be like, "You are wrong. It's bleh." And I'll just be like, "Sure, whatever."
um, I think, again, I'm pretty
I,
sure we'll talk about it a little bit more when we talk about the film
yeah,
itself, but I think it's very much the fact that we read about it and without really having first-hand personal experience with someone who has gone through something like that, and so from a third
yeah,
party unemotional perspective, it's how we're going to react, whereas when
yeah,
it's someone we know, it's obviously going to be very different.
yeah,
um, so yeah. It all depends on who you know and what they did.
yeah. It's also kind of like obviously because I'm a woman. Well,
Wait,
no,
wait, 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 you're a woman?
apparently. I'm still getting used to this. I am actually identifying as non-binary, but I'm still using she pronouns. So occasionally I'm still referring to myself as a woman, and I'm like, that doesn't feel right. So, as a person who presents feminine, that's just for my comfort. I know I'm being a pain, but whatever. But yeah, I obviously have a different perspective on this than to you because obviously you're a man, so it kind of it affects you
Plot twist.
differently.
But yeah, obviously,
So
like,
I just like kind of like different points of view. I kind of thought it'd be good to talk about it from different angles, if that makes any sense.
yeah, and honestly, after watching this film, I really don't know where to start with this film.
Yeah,
Um, or what we were even going to talk about, really. Because, and that's kind of why I was up for doing this, regardless, because whether the conversation gears towards, oh, treatment of women, or if it's going to be strictly restricted to the film itself.
yeah.
Um,
I think we could talk about both like the discourse about it and also the actual filmmaking in it as well. And like if there's any parts of the story we didn't like I'm more than happy to critique the film as well. Because there were some parts of it where I was kind of like I got what it was trying to do, but parts of it I felt like it is literally trying to like hit you over the head with it a little bit.
yeah, it was very blunt, is a way of describing
Yeah,
it.
and I like what the actress has said about it. She basically said it's like a candy coated sweet, and then you bite it and you realize it's poison. That's how the actress who plays Cassie has described the film, and I was like, that kind of makes yeah. I would say that's kind of what it's a bit like.
Yeah, um, not really much else I can say about that, to be honest. But
Uh,
it's
I
a
just want to know what you thought about it.
um,
Like, did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you go, why is this film here? Like,
I can understand why they made the film. and I can understand
Yeah.
why they were being so blunt about it. Um, this is just because writing is what I focus on, so it's gonna be what I
Yeah.
talk about first, and then I'll move on to
Yeah,
everything
that's fine.
else. But felt the writing in it was like, even though it was the first half of it was really interesting because when she was going around messing with people, I was like, oh, okay, so this isn't
Yeah.
like exactly what I thought it was going to be. But then the longer the film kept on going, I was like, oh, so this is gonna happen next, and it happened. Then this is gonna
Yeah.
happen next. Oh, shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like a lot of people are like, I feel like the end is a gotcha moment, and yeah, I get it. It's actually a very bittersweet, depressing gotcha moment, but I feel like I feel like she kind of maybe almost wrote herself into a corner at the end of the film. Like the first half was very strong, and then I feel like the end, it kind of went off a little bit.
see, I felt the exact complete opposite because the first half was really interesting because she was doing things I wasn't expecting while also being very
Yeah,
in character. But the second half was so predictable. Like even the gotcha ending, I was
yeah,
like, I called it 20 minutes ago, and it
yeah,
like I'm glad it happened because if it just ended with
yeah.
her the way it did, I was like,
Oh God,
that would
yeah.
have been grim. But
Oh, yeah. The director actually said she originally had ended the script. When they well, when the horrible thing happens, and then you get to see a little bit of the aftermath, and then like she was like, I'm just gonna cut it there, but she was like, I feel like that's very, very bleak.
it's bleak, and considering the Cassandra, Cassie, whatever she likes to go by, based on the
Yeah,
character we know her to be and how thorough she is, to just go in there guns blazing with no backup plan. If it ended there, I would have been really pissed off from a writing
yeah,
perspective because I was like, really? Oh,
yeah.
that's
No, she's so meticulous. Like it would have been like, what? Really? She had no backup plans to deal with that situation.
yeah. So I'm glad they continued to the actual ending.
Yeah,
Let's just say that.
yeah. I'm glad that too. Yeah.
Um, but okay. So let me ask you a question. The method she goes about doing what she does all the way through the
Yeah,
film, all the way to the end,
yeah.
how she selects people, what she does to them. Um, how can I phrase this question?
Uh,
um, like, how do you personally feel about it? How do you relate to it?
I mean, I completely relate to it because like I get what she's doing. Like she's lost her friend to this situation. She's clearly hurting, and she kind of, in a way, it seems like she just wants people to be more aware. So I guess I can see where she's coming from, but like obviously the psychological element of what she's doing is still wrong. Like I don't think it's fair. It's not really helping, but at the same time, obviously, she's literally just making these guys aware of what they've just done or almost done, and then she just leaves them alone. So at the same time, I can see why she would leave it at that, but I definitely don't agree with the methods because I don't think it's gonna work because obviously all the guys just start saying, "Oh, there's this crazy woman going around pretending to be drunk," and they kind of basically get to paint her as a psycho. So in the end, is it really working what she's doing? It feels like it's more of a personal thing as opposed to actually helping, if that makes any sense. And I get it, she's processing grief, but she's processing it in a really dangerous way because, like, the way she's going about it, like, she's pretending to be drunk. What if she ended up getting taken home by a violent person who would ignore her even if she turned around and said, what are you doing? Get off me. So, like, what she's doing is very self-harmy in a way. That's how I like interpreted it anyway. Like it is a badass opening, but at the same time I'm like that is such a dangerous situation to put yourself in.
Yeah, and then when you see the notebook and you see how many guys she's done it to, I'm like,
Yeah.
how
That's
have you
insane.
lasted this long?
exactly. You're just like, what? And I mean, I get what she's doing. She's kind of probably got a plan in place in case they do turn violent. I would assume so.
God,
Like,
I
I
hope
think that's
so.
why she never. I think that's why she never brings any violence into it. Like, I think that's why she doesn't attack the guys. She just literally sobers up and just goes, "Get off me." But at the same time, it's like one of those guys might just ignore you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in terms of the guy's perspective, there's only so many quote unquote nice guys out there, you know.
Yeah,
Like the issue that this film brings up, it's something that every guy knows. It's just a matter of are you willing to not act on it rather than anything
yeah,
else. And
yeah,
the guys who are just abusing women, like as shit as it is, like they know they do it anyway. It only takes one
yeah,
guy like that for things to go south so hard.
yeah. No, I know. I'm pretty sure like it would be really interesting to see like if she'd had a backup plan for that. That's what I kind of would have wanted to see because I was like, this situation that she's putting herself in is so dangerous. And also she's actively going looking for predators and that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Uh, So what she's doing is I do not agree with it at all. And she is not a character that you should be like, oh yeah, I want to be that character. It's a tragic story of someone being consumed by grief, basically, and
Legit.
trying to get revenge. And I like that they do it in a realistic way where it's not, oh, she's just going in and killing everybody like John Wick.
Genuinely, I was so
Because,
worried they were gonna do that, and I was so happy they
yeah,
didn't.
I love that they didn't do the realistic around killing people. You would get arrested. So I love how grounded in realism it is. That's why she just confronts them because she's very much aware if I hurt these people, I will get arrested.
Yeah. Um, it's weird. Like the only decent people in this film are literally like, in a weird way, the Cassie's parents, like Jennifer Coolidge
Yeah.
and Clancy Brown. I was like, oh my god, like
Uh,
I like you too. You're decent people.
yeah. Yeah. They're the only two characters that genuinely seem good.
Nice.
Everyone else just comes out like an asshole.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Or
Laverne Cox's character, she's cool.
yeah, Nina's mother, right?
Not Mina's mother, no, her boss, the one that she works with in the coffee shop.
Oh, right, gotcha. Uh,
Yeah.
oh, like I was listening to the conversation she was having with Bo Burnham when she was grilling him about killing kids,
Yeah.
and I would have been so sassy and said, "Yeah, about five a day, man. You want to join them or something like that?"
Yeah.
And I would have been
Yeah.
thrown out of the shop so hard.
Yeah. Oh, I love the casting choices for this film. Like you have Adam Brody as the first guy that she takes home, and you're just like, oh my God,
I was like,
what a
"Oh,
choice."
it's like you haven't changed at all since the OC."
Yeah. And then you've got I cannot remember the actor's name, but he plays McLovin. You've got that
Oh,
guy.
Christoph Mintz, please.
Yeah. Yep, that's the guy.
God damn it! The one time we need David.
Oh, no. The one time we need him, yeah. And then you've got at the end, I've forgotten his name as well, but he's in New Girl, and
The
he's
jock,
like,
yeah.
yeah, and I was like, oh, this is jarring
Schmidt.
because it basically is the same character if Schmidt was an asshole. Like if Schmidt was a more of an asshole, and I'm like, that's just jarring, but like I get why they've done it. It's basically to say literally anyone could be culpable and behave like this.
Yeah. Um. Absolutely, basically.
Yeah,
Um. I I get why they turned out that Bo Burnham was the guy recording shit during the actual quote
yeah.
unquote event. I get
Was he
why they.
recording it? I just thought he was just there because
I
like there were a bunch of people there watching,
I can't
which is
remember.
basically
Um.
I rewatched it recently, so I think It's just the fact that he's there that's the
Gotcha.
problem for her because he's there and he didn't say anything about it. And then, like, you get this point where he could have literally turned around and said, I'm sorry, I regret it. But he turns around and he's basically like, if you go and tell anybody, then we'll both be bad doctor. We both won't be doctors. And it's like, what a fucking shit to say.
I know. It's like as soon as he came in, I was like, "Oh, what's your baggage? I know you've done something. No one's this
Yeah,
nice."
yeah.
um,
I think that's why they did it. Like, they got him to be like, because he's not a malicious character at all.
yeah, absolutely. Like he's a dipshit more than anything else. But
Yeah,
like, you're like, oh, the funny guy, the nice guy, the one you can hang out
yeah,
with. It's like, oh, yeah, you're such a contrast to every other guy. Like it's the nice guy trope, you know. It's like at the end of the day, the nice guy is
yeah,
always most times also an asshole. You know, he's just like any other guy.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I get why they did the contrast as harsh as it was. Like again, this film's not blunt. It's very blunt.
Yeah. Literally got to a point in the film. I think it's this the part where they're both singing Paris Hilton together.
Oh
And I was
Jesus.
like, if I just turn it off now, if I just turn it off now, then she has a happy ending. But I was like, there's 30 minutes to go. This is not going to end well, is it?
Yeah, it's
And I was like, oh. And then when he turned around and was just like, don't you hand it in, I was just like, you actual asshole. You literally, all you have to do is say, I'm sorry, it was wrong. But you're still like, nah.
like he was
I'm not gonna
halfway
take
there.
responsibility. And
He
then I
was
was like, oh, you're so
oh,
close.
and-
And then it got worse when he was like, oh, she was behaving like badly because he gets interviewed by the police later on in the film. And he's like, oh yeah, she was acting kind of irrational and stuff. And didn't tell them where she was. And I was like, you actual prick. I hate you. I like Bo Burnham, but oh my god, I hate that character. And also, I hate the fact the character's name is Ryan.
oh God, yeah. oh, see, that's kind of the thing. Like anytime there's a character with my name, I'm like, you better not fuck it up, dude.
Yeah, you better not be a dick. Oh, they're a dick.
Genuinely, like that scene, I was like, okay, I get you. Come on.
Yeah.
As Paris Hilton of all things as well. Like this film is
I
so mid
thought
two
that was
thousands in a
funny.
really weird way because of the
I
soundtracks.
know. See, I like the fact that she's chosen those soundtracks because I feel like the whole film is supposed to sort of suggest that Cassie never really left the state she was in, when because she drops out of medical school because her friend was raped.
Yeah,
YouTube
absolutely.
doesn't like that word, does it, actually? So,
Do you know what year this film is taking place in?
I think it is supposed to take place in this year, but I think the whole point of it is supposed to show that Cassie is not moving on with her life. She's basically stuck in a period of time. I think that's kind of what the
Yeah,
whole
it's
aesthetic of the film's trying to say is like, look, she's not moving on with her life. She stayed at the same job. She's still living with her parents. She didn't even realize that she'd had her 30th birthday. Like, this is someone who's basically trapped in, like, a cycle of grief, if you will.
yeah, absolutely. Like I was only asking the year because I was just wondering regards to um like music choices. It's very mid
Yeah.
2000s when if we're assuming this is taking place today, it would
Yeah.
be like 2013. So I would have liked it more. This is just a personal taste thing. I would have liked it
Yeah.
more if it was like "Call Me Maybe" by Carly Rae Jepsen or something like that. Also,
Yeah.
that's the frame I freezed on just now.
Yeah. Oh God.
um,
You were almost so good.
look
I
at
do
him.
like Bo Burnham as an actor, though.
I can't remember what he's been in. I'm sure I've seen him and stuff, but
He's he's a comedian, isn't he?
I know that much. But in terms of
Yeah.
like films and shows and stuff like that, it's just coming off with a blank at the moment. Again, David.
Yeah. David, we need you. You are our IMDb. Come back. I'm just kidding. I know you're busy. It's okay. We love you. If you're listening.
If you're not, I'll know.
Yeah. We know. We can. And I can't remember if we did a spoiler warning, but spoiler warning.
Oh, it's too late now. We've already said she dies.
Yeah. Did we? I just said bad thing happened. I didn't say that she dies.
Oh, well.
But yeah, she dies at the end of this movie, guys.
I'm sure we...
It's sucky.
Well, anyway, she dies. That's the
Yeah.
important part. I don't think we've ever had
Yeah.
to worry about spoilers anyway, so...
No, this is true. Like, if you're watching it, like, you've watched the film already, because I watched it and then I was like reading articles about it and stuff because I was fascinated by the production and I'd never heard of the director before. And then I was like, oh, she's been in a few things that I've watched and she's written some of Killing Eve. So I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I was like, I wanted to know like what made her want to make this film and like why did she make this film, and I was just like, I was fascinated, so I just literally got hyper focused and was like researching all I could about the film because I was so fascinated by it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love Carey Mulligan by default anyway, so...
She's so good. This is the first thing I've seen her in. I might have seen her in other things, but I recognized her, but I didn't, if that makes any sense. I was like, I know you. I've seen you in something, but
So,
I couldn't place
She was
it.
in The Great Gatsby with DiCaprio. She was Daisy.
Oh, right. I've only seen a little bit of that, so that's probably why
Yeah, and she
I
was...
recognized her, but I was just like, where are you from?
She's also the girlfriend in Drive.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Cool.
Yeah. She's so good.
Yeah, so we talked about the bow. Okay. One thing. Oh, sorry.
I was just coughing, sorry.
Okay. I was just gonna say that I think what really helps this film work is the fact that Cassie didn't kill anyone, thankfully. That's really what makes the film work, because rather than being like the vengeful knight, just beating up bad people, it's just like, okay, look, you're getting a stern talking to. Don't do this again.
Yeah.
Behave.
Yeah. I do love when she's like the scene where she's basically explaining to, I've forgotten the actor's name. Neil. His name is Neil in the film, so I'm just gonna talk about the character. So yeah, she confronts him because he literally like tries to get her high off cocaine, I think it is.
Yeah.
And she like asks for a drink of water, and then she pretends to be asleep, and he wakes her up, and she's like, "You get points for waking me up first." And I loved the bit where he's like, "Oh, I thought we had a connection," and she's like, "Really? Okay. What's my job? What's my name? What are my hobbies?" And he can't answer her, and I'm like, I just love this scene so much. Because, like, you can just see the horror in his face of, like, oh my god.
Genuinely, like, two of the things that I hate when guys say is, one, I'm a nice guy. It's like, fuck off. If you have to specify it, you're not. Believe me.
Yes. Oh,
and two
definitely.
is, the second is, I thought we had a connection. Fuck off.
Yeah, I thought we had a connection is so dumb, because it's like, right, okay, but you know nothing about me. You are literally going off what I look like. I've had this before, like, when I broke up with Mikey's dad, because I'd been with him for 4 years, so I hadn't been single for a long time. And all these guys that were supposedly my friend were like, why didn't you date me? I was like, I liked you, and I'm like, maybe because I wanted to be a single for a while.
Like,
I was like, I don't owe you anything.
Like,
so I lost a lot of guy friends during that time, but I was just like, do you know what? I don't need you. If like all you see me as a potential for a relationship, bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Genuinely, I'm not even a woman, but I hate it when a guy just goes, "You should have been with me instead. I would have treated you well." I'm like, fuck off, dude. No. You would have been the same.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was like, probably not exactly the same, but I'm 100% sure there's something we disagree on because you're already pissed that I haven't gone, oh, I'm single, date me. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's like, look, I'm not
no,
saying that all men are like this or that all men are evil or anything like that. It's like, look, men and women, we both
no.
have things wrong with us. Absolutely, don't
Yeah,
get me
we
wrong.
have flaws.
Like these are just the highlights of what I hate when what guys say.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
yeah. Hearing someone say they're a nice guy is just so like, why do you have to tell me this? I know. Like, it should be based on your actions, not you being like, I'm a nice guy. It's like,
Yeah, like insecure much.
good
Wink,
for you,
wink.
man. Yeah. But I was
um,
like, I remember when I first watched that scene, so I was like, she's gonna kill him, because at this point, we don't know what she's been doing to these guys.
hmm.
I do love the scene where she's eating a hot dog, and she's got like, it pans up, so she's got red on her leg from the hot dog, and it pans up, and she's eating a hot dog, and you're just like, oh, did she kill the guy? And it's like, oh no, she's just eating a hot dog. I love that. I love it when films do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's yeah. So do I actually. It's like it sets up something we've seen before, and it's like, oh, actually, do you know what? It's this instead.
Yeah.
Um,
I do. Sorry.
and I was just gonna say that I'm so happy that they had at least one dude in this film that wasn't a complete ass. um, like Clancy Brown, the dad. I mean. Like, I'm glad there was one guy that was like, yeah, do you know what? I'm happy for you.
Yeah. Oh, I loved her dad. He was so sweet. Like when she was dressed up, he was like, "You look really pretty," and I was like, "Oh, that's so cute." And then I was like, obviously when she died, I was like, I feel so bad for her parents. They just wanted her to be happy, and I was just like, I feel so bad. Like, of course she knew what was going on, was good might happen, but like her poor parents.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm curious. Promising young woman, what do you think that is referring to in this film? I'm curious what your answer is.
Okay. So I think it's because a lot of times promising young man is a phrase used. So I feel like the saying promising young woman is kind of trying to challenge that in a way because I think with there was a a lad called Brock Turner and he got arrested for attacking someone and people were referring to him like as he was a promising young
I
man
remember
and
this
oh
guy,
his life's
yeah.
been ruined. And I'm like his life was ruined because he did something horrible. If you do something horrible, you are gonna have consequences for it.
Wasn't this also med
Like,
school dude?
I don't think it was med school, dude. No,
Or swimmer?
oh yeah,
One of the. I remember there was a
yeah, he
swimmer as
was.
well.
Yeah, Brock Turner's the guy who was a swimmer, and they were like, "Oh,
Gotcha.
he's a promising young man." I think that's kind of what she was trying to do, but I know a lot of people might not get click onto that if you've not heard of the saying before or whatever.
Yeah, get what you mean. Um, what I thought of it was kind of like, in the same vein, however, more directly referring to Nina because she was a
Yeah,
promising young woman.
yeah, I
So
got that
a
as
more
well.
literal meaning than what you said, but yeah, it's very interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Like it can work as both, really, because like I think the whole point of it is yeah, it's about Nina, but I think what like for me, I was like it feels like it's also challenging that as well. So it sort of does two things. It's a layered title, and I like it.
Yeah. Um, I agree.
Oh, that's a
um,
first.
I know, right? We only ever disagree on everything, right? Oh, God.
I don't think we disagree on everything because if we did, I don't think we'd be able to be friends.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose it would be very challenging at
Yeah,
the very least.
a bit difficult. Yeah.
You could just imagine David in the middle, just
Okay.
tense as all hell, wondering what
Just
we're gonna
like
disagree with next.
yeah. Now, what I like about the fact that we can disagree is like, if you disagree with me, I'll be like, that's fair. I understand why.
Yeah, or if we don't, we can ask questions till we do.
Yeah.
It's not straight away. I disagree with you. You're a Nazi. It's like, whoa, Jesus, that escalated
Yeah.
fast. It's not Twitter, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I don't even go on Twitter that much. I sometimes post about our podcast. Anyway, we went on a tangent there, but it's okay. We love
Yeah.
some tangent.
um. God, do you know what? When she picked up the girl, I was so
Oh yeah.
worried. I was like,
I
oh,
was like,
don't
what are
don't do
you gonna
anything.
do? Yeah. I get why she did it though, but literally when she sat down and talked to the dean, she was like, do you remember Nina? No. Do you remember Al Munro? Yeah, I remember him. He did a good job, blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, he also attacked my friend, but you don't seem to remember that. Conveniently.
Mm. One scene I really liked
Yeah.
was the one with Alfred Molina, or Doctor Octopus from Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
That's a scene I
really
really
liked that
liked.
scene. He was just
Um,
like, I've been waiting for someone to talk to me, and he kind of sheds a light on how defense lawyers work a little bit as well, and like the fact that they get bonuses to basically bully victims out of testifying is horrible.
yeah, absolutely, and the fact that he was someone that was actually showing remorse, because he's just remorseful as opposed to being guilted to it by Cassie,
Yeah.
was a really interesting perspective to have.
Yeah. It was great though because she was like, oh my God, he feels remorse. So she's just like, I forgive you.
I was
And it
oh
sorry, I
god.
was gonna say it kind of shows that that's all she wants is some recognition and some remorse for what happened. And I feel like if a lot more people come around and said, "Yeah, I do feel about it," I think she might have had a chance at carrying on this lifestyle. But I feel like once she found out that Ryan was involved, it was just like, no.
All
And
guns
also,
blazing, baby.
yeah. And also, like, the fact that she'd been shown that video, that would cause so much trauma. And I feel like that would have, I think that basically set the nail in the coffin. Basically, she was just like, I don't care what happens to me. I need to get some justice. I think that's basically what happened in that scene.
Hmm.
I
I'm
am glad they didn't show it because I feel like that would have been not needed.
Yeah, just the implication and knowing that it exists is plenty.
Yeah. The
um,
reaction just tells you how horrific it is. And that's
yeah.
all you need, really.
Um, like I'm gonna not describe what happens, but there was this Sri Lankan film from like decades ago that I watched
Yeah.
way back when. It's about when the English took over and the monarchy fell and shit like that. There's this one
Yeah.
particular scene. They're like, so this is what we're gonna do, but they never show it, but they show the movements and
Okay.
all of that. And I was like, well,
Uh,
that's stuck out, Jesus. And
oh,
I was like
yikes.
6.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you just watch anything, bro. It's fine. But yeah, it was the one time. Well, not. It was the first time I remember something not being shown had such an impact
Yeah.
that I still remember it. Like I can't remember the name of the film or who was in it, but I just remembered that moment because they didn't show it. I was like, ooh, interesting.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
absolutely,
It's
you didn't need to see the act taking place.
no. And all the scenes where she's pretending to be drunk are super uncomfortable because the music is gone and it's silent and it's just so uncomfortable and you're just like, oh my God, stop it. You're
Hmm.
almost like, please hurry up and tell him you're sober, please, so you can get out of there. That's all that was going through my brain. Because I'm like, ah, this is not okay.
At the start of the film, I was thinking, God damn, Adam Brody, be, be do guys a solid. Just call a cab, put her in, and be on the way. Just do that and
Yeah.
leave it alone. But no, it's like
It's just
fucking
crazy
hell,
how
dude.
he just. It's just crazy how he just flipped. Like he was doing the right thing. He's like, I'm taking you home. And the next thing, it's just like, do you know what? Do you want more alcohol?
It was such a hard
Like,
flip. It was
yeah. But
jarring
it kind of,
actually.
yeah. it kind of shows you that literally anyone can make a really bad decision in that situation.
Um, it's not even that anyone can make, it's anyone can choose to make it. Because,
Yeah, the fact he chose to be like, "Oh, you can have more alcohol," and the fact that he was then saying, "You're safe," and she's like, "What are you doing? You're safe. What are you doing?" It's like, dude, she's asking you, "What are you doing?" That's not like confirmation that she's okay with it. That's what are you doing? And the fact that she had to say it more than once was like, oh my God, why?
yeah. Um, okay, so I'm just because I watched it yesterday for the first time. Was the
Yeah, that's
guy who took Alison Brie in the hotel, was that the same guy from the start of the film with Adam Brody?
I'm not sure, but it does look like him, doesn't it? Like I rewatched it today as well, and I was like, is that him?
Yeah, cause,
Is
and then
she
later
like
on she
hired
goes for
him?
the black dude as well.
Yeah. Um, I think it might have been. I think it might have been an actor that looked very much like Adam Brody. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, not Adam Brody itself, the other white
Um,
guy at the start with Adam Brody.
uh, I think that might have been the same guy. I'm not sure.
Hmm. I wonder
I
if
didn't actually get back up to that part because I got halfway through and then I had stuff to do, and then it just like I was like, oh, it's 7:30.
let
So yeah,
me check if that is the case.
I don't think it is, but I can totally see why it might be because he was a bit of a creep.
Yeah. Oh, I'm at that part. Just show me his face. You film.
Yeah, film.
Ugh. Come on. No, I don't think it is. No.
No,
That would have been interesting if it
no, because
was.
it would have been. But yeah, no, he had. I love how he runs away, going, "You're ruining it for everyone," and it's like, really, really, what the fuck?
You know what that reminded me of? It reminded me of um, Keenan, or was it Cal, the big dude?
Uh,
Keenan and Cal, but I can't remember which one is which anymore.
I remember it, but I can't remember which one is which either.
Pretty sure it was Keenan, but I was like, oh my god,
Okay.
Keenan, chill, it's
What are
okay.
you doing? I know.
But it would have been interesting, like, if it was the same guy, because it could
Yeah.
have, like, not in a literal sense, more in a figurative sense. It could be like, oh, she
Yeah.
sees all guys pretty much the same until proven otherwise, kind of thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's horrible as well because obviously when Ryan, before he starts being a jackass, because obviously throughout the film there are a lot of romantic comedy beats that you get between the two of them, and you're just like, oh, they're cute.
It
And
took me a
there's the
second to
first time
realize you
you,
were talking about Bo Burnham.
yeah, I'm talking about not my Ryan.
I was like, oh, he watched it with you. That must have been awkward.
We would not have lasted 3 years if Ryan was like that. No, yeah, I'm talking about the character, not my partner. Should I maybe just say Bo Burnham just so like no confusion?
Yeah, it's up to you. I don't
Okay,
mind.
okay. So Bo Burnham, like he asks her on a date, and like she gets all dressed up and she looks super pretty, and then her dad goes, "You look really pretty," and it's like, "Oh, this is so cute." Maybe she's got some hope, and then like as soon as he gets to the point where he's like, "Do you want to come upstairs?" She stops and she's like, "I don't think I want to." I feel like she stopped herself because she's like, I don't want to potentially have this happen again, but with someone I actually like. So I feel like that's why she was like, I'm gonna go home now.
Yeah, and the way I saw of it was because she has put herself in this position so many times. It's like she's seeing the patterns and seeing the patterns with this guy
Uh,
as well was maybe what
yeah,
she was frustrated with, almost as if oh, I can't believe I fell for it kind of thing more than anything
yeah.
else.
Yeah, I got vibes like that. But like the way he was like, "Oh, it's okay, that was too soon" and stuff like that, and like he didn't stop her from going home. Like he didn't say, "Oh, like no, you should come up." He was just like, "Okay, go home. That's fine." And I feel like she kind of needed to do stuff like that. She needed him to basically prove that he wouldn't try and pressure her into anything. So I feel like that's also why she was like, "No, I'm gonna go home," to see what he would do in a way.
Yeah, and then when he
And
didn't,
she,
Ben got kicked
yeah,
over.
yeah. Oh my God, I totally relate to that. Like, when she has like bursts of anger, like I completely relate to that because there's a bit where I think it's after the Dean conversation, and she's just so drained, and you can see the toll it's taken on her, and she just puts her head on the steering wheel, but there's a guy in traffic behind her or next to her, and he starts yelling like horrible stuff at her, so she just gets out the car and starts breaking the window with a like tire iron. And like as soon as she's done that, like normally in films you're like, oh yeah, that was cool, because like in Wanted, I'll just use that as an example. Do you know where he just like says fuck it and hits his boss over the head with a keyboard,
Ah, yeah, I remember
and
when
then he
that
just
happened.
walks out, and you're just like, yes. When Cassie does it, you're like, oh shit. Just like she's like, oh shit, what have I done?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that's how like I relate to that because when I get angry, I yell or I get frustrated and go and take myself away and just isolate myself while I'm angry. Like I can relate to that because after I've been angry, I'm like, shit.
yeah, I try not to get angry around other people because I don't know what I would do. And I don't want to find out, quite frankly. So,
Yeah.
yeah, fun.
That's the thing though. She clearly broke for a minute there and she was just like, what have I just done? I could get in serious trouble for that. And I was like, that's so realistic because I feel like a lot of people would do that. Like as soon like you like to assume that you do a badass thing and you'd be okay with it, but I genuinely think anyone, if they just turned around and started attacking someone with a tire iron, they'd be like, what have I just done? Unless you're a psychopath, I guess.
Yeah. um,
I guess for her, it was because this guy's not really done anything to me. He's just yelled a bunch of nasty words at me, and I just kind of reacted.
I mean, to
So I
be
guess for
fair,
her,
she
she's
was in
like,
the middle of the road, so I get why he
yeah,
did that.
yeah,
If she was off to the side, parked, and then he did that, I'd be like, okay, breaking
yeah,
some stuff is warranted.
yeah. That's what I mean. Like, I think she was like, shit, I shouldn't have done that because honestly, there was no reason for me to do that.
Yeah.
She was pissed off and she wanted to take it out on someone, basically. And I like that scene so much because it's like very realistic, I think.
Yeah. It's a really interesting contrast because on the one hand you got these quote unquote realistic things going on, with the tire iron and stuff like that, and then at the same time you've got that fucking Paris Hilton scene, and I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck? And it's
I
all
know. Like,
neon pop colors popping left and
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Um,
like I say, she wanted the whole film to look like basically candy and then sort of peel away to something horrible in the middle.
I get what she was, what the director was trying to do with that.
Yeah. It is very jarring, I agree, and I think sometimes it's it's sort of takes it a bit too far. With the Paris Hilton choice, I think I don't know, I think she maybe just wanted that scene in because it was cool to her, maybe.
Yeah, because like the rest of the coffee shop she works at and everything else, like it all fits with the aesthetic, and then that one was just
Yeah.
so over the top. I get maybe it's
Yeah.
because like, oh, like the height of love or some shit like that. It's like, okay, fair enough, maybe heightened emotions, colorful,
Yeah.
happy, and all that.
Yeah.
Um,
It
yeah,
was, I think that bit was supposed to be very like, I don't know, sort
over
of
the
trying
top.
to over the top and trying to suggest fake, like fake happy kind of going on because like they do start basically it starts kind of acting like a rom-com for a little bit, and I feel like that's why she put it in there because she was like, "Look, this guy's running around singing," and then like you get the horrible moment where it's like, and he's also sat there and let someone be attacked and not talk about it and just let that happen.
Hmm.
I think it might have been a bit too over the top, though. I enjoyed the scene, but at the same time, I'm just like,
I was just thinking, my God, I haven't heard
"Aw."
Paris Hilton sing in decades.
Yeah.
You know, this is just a me thing. When she was walking up to the cabin, I would have liked it if they actually played Britney Spears' "Toxic" instead of just the orchestral version.
I think they were going for like trying to make this like be a ultimate like scary scene. I feel like the actual song "Toxic" might. I mean, it works either way. The song is spot on for that moment. It is everything going on is toxic.
Yeah. Um.
She might not have had the rights to the song though. Maybe that's why she used the orchestral version. I don't know.
I don't know, but I would have liked to have heard like Britney Spears' "Toxic" in a film again. Like, I just think that would have
Yeah,
been dope. But
yeah. I did like the orchestral version of it as well though. It was really cool.
yeah. Okay, so I'm curious on what do you think because it's not the ending that happened. But what do you think she was going to do with Goody Two Shoes at the end when she's got them tied up?
Um, I thought she like she clearly. I thought she quite. That's the one time where she brings a weapon into the situation. Kind of, she's relating
Oh, you're breaking
to
up.
violence. Oh, sorry. Yeah. My internet just went weird for a minute there. Sorry.
Much better now, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying that I think she was very much starting to lose control because she was now bringing weapons into the situation, and I get why. It's a very personal, dude. It's not like just a random guy. This is a guy that basically destroyed her best friend. So I think she was definitely going for violence, and she says, doesn't she? Says something like, "I'm gonna carve Nina's name all over you."
Yeah, she does. Word for word, actually.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not sure, because part of me was like, is she doing this? Is she gonna kill him and basically get arrested and not be asked because she feels like she can't get justice? But I was like, is she just gonna carve Nina on him and leave him alive
See,
as
I
like a warning? I was like, I don't know how. Basically, I was like, there's no way she walks away from this in a good way. Like I was like, she's either gonna get arrested or she's gonna die.
yeah.
Basically, just because of how realistic the rest of the stuff was, I was like, she's gonna either get arrested or die, one or the other. Like, I don't know. I feel like at that point, it's like she's not bothered what happens to her. She just wants justice in some form.
Yeah, and this is a part that comes to interpretation, I guess.
Yeah.
Based on what she was like through the film and what she was doing, if she was going full on violence, I think she would have done something to the knocked out guys as beforehand. Um,
Um. Yeah, probably. Like, I
um,
think she just knocked them out and
yeah,
just kind
exactly.
of.
She would have gone a little bit more extreme rather than just, all right, just go to sleep.
Yeah.
Um, Also,
And
I think
that's.
it was very literal. Like she was just gonna carve the name a lot like
Yeah, and then she was just gonna
Dragon
leave him.
Tattoo.
Yeah. I don't blame her, to be honest. Like, I can see her mindset, and also it's a situation like literally Nina was bullied out of testifying. People told her it was their fault, and then obviously she died because of it. And obviously at this point she was like, there's no coming out of this. Like, there's no way I'm gonna get out of this." And it's quite sad because it just literally her grief consumed her a little bit. But I don't think a lot of people are like, oh, did she just go crazy at the end? And I'm like, no, I don't think she went crazy. I think she just had enough,
Yeah,
which is kind of fair.
crazy was not what I had in mind as
Yeah.
well.
No, like a lot of people have said to the director, "So what happened? Did you go crazy?" And it's like that's quite interesting because if you look at John Wick, you don't go, "Oh, he's gone crazy." You just go, "Yeah, I mean, they killed his dog. Of course you'd react like that."
Oh yeah, like unlike John Wick, I'm pretty sure I'd die, but you know.
Yeah. Of course, like a real person couldn't go around attacking everybody. That's why I love John Wick because obviously it's like power fantasy.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be real. But obviously with this in this case, like she's not going around killing people. She's not some superhero. She's like a small woman that's basically trying to carve words into a man who is very clearly distressed, afraid, and unfortunately he was way stronger than her, so he breaks free out of the handcuffs and he smothers her, and it's just kind of it's a depressing like scene that basically makes you go, she was just a human being that was just dealing with grief and not some kind of badass avenging angel.
Yeah.
This is not a
Like,
nice film, guys, but at the same time, I feel like most people should watch it because it gets you thinking. It's provocative.
oh, that's a bigger word than jam.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because like this is not a film I'm gonna watch again. Genuinely,
No.
it's like Detroit. I've watched it once. It's enough. I get it. People suck sometimes.
Yeah.
um,
It is one of those films, though, like, it's. I mean, I feel like I'd only rewatch it again for analysis purposes because it was a tough watch. And
yeah,
it's a tough watch because it asks a lot of complicated questions and it makes you feel very shitty. And it's supposed to. It's not supposed to make you go, "Oh, yay, she killed everybody." It's supposed to make you go, "People are shit."
yeah. Personally, I really don't think that there is many questions being asked. If that and what I mean by that is
Yeah.
it's very clear on what the message is, and it's
Yeah.
razor sharp in its execution. Now, whether it's done
Yeah.
well or not, that is a completely different debate altogether. But it has
Yeah.
its identity. So I was under
It's
no
got people
illusion.
talking.
Yeah, it's more of a conversation starter rather than trying to ask
Yeah,
questions because questions have been
that's
asked.
true.
They were asked a long time ago. This just
True.
okay. Here you go. This is a perspective. Go, kind of thing.
Yeah. I thought it was a very gutsy ending. A lot of films, because it's such a really depressing subject matter. Like the fact that it was like, no, this is not like you should not want to be like this character. This is like a cautionary tale as well.
Yeah, that's a great way of saying it. Actually, um,
Yeah.
yeah, just be the mom and dad.
Yeah, basically, the mum and dad are brilliant, but it's just kind of sad. But it's like, look how supportive they are. They're not like having a go at her. They're just kind of concerned, and they just want her to be okay. And you know, I feel so bad for them because like they get a brief glimpse of her getting better, and then she's just gone. It's just kind of like that's really sad that that can happen.
Yeah, and to go beyond that on why I don't think it's um, crazyisms or anything like that,
Yeah,
it's because of the ending that made me
yeah,
go, oh, she's not crazy because she thought it through. She had a backup.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
okay, so were you thinking um, when Bo Burnham was getting the messages, like eventually it's
yeah.
just gonna be the video download, and it's like, ah,
Yeah, I thought like maybe it might be like the video got sent around the wedding or something.
I was waiting for that part, but you know, it's just
Yeah,
the winky face, and it's like, oh, okay, fair enough, fair.
yeah. I mean, I was kind of like, can you do that with messages?
Schedule messages, yeah, you can.
Okay, that's fine then. I was just like, can you do that? Because if you can, that's cool, and if you can't, then it kind of the realism's gone. But yeah,
um,
okay. So that can be done. That's cool.
I mean, I've never done it, but it is a feature, so I know that
Yeah.
much at least.
Yeah. So yeah, you get a gotcha moment and you get a ha, he's gonna get arrested, but it's also like she had to die for that to happen, and that is so messed up.
Hmm. What do you think about the boss getting her necklace?
I was very like she very clearly trusts Laverne Cox's character. I can't remember her name in the film. She very much trusts her, and I guess that's why she sent it. And also, she seemed to be the closest thing to her as a friend that she had. You know, I was like, I genuinely just want her to go and live with Laverne Cox because they seem to get along so well, and it just makes me sad.
It's like an alternative to Broke Girls.
Yeah, a better one that's not crap.
I've never watched it, and I have no intention
Don't.
to watch it, so I can't stand Kat
I
Dennings, so
I watched it and I liked it when I first watched it, but then as I watched it more and more, I was like, this is not good. What the hell? And why don't you like Kat Dennings? Just curiosity, because like I'm just indifferent to her.
the Thor films.
Really?
Yeah, I cannot stand her in the Thor films, and I just left such a bad taste in my mouth. Like, she's probably a really nice person, but as a performer, I cannot
Just the
stand her.
Thor films? Yeah, fair enough. Um, have you caught up on One Division?
No.
Okay. No
Hopefully
worries
on
then.
Wednesday, but no promises.
Okay, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
Why do you
Um,
bring it up? Oh, please don't tell me Kat Dennings is in that.
I,
Oh?
do you want me to say?
No, is Kat Dennings in it? That's all I want to know. I mean, I could look
Yes,
it up.
she pops up in One Division.
Oh, well, I can
That's
endure
why
it.
I was like, that's why I was like, why don't you like Captain? She's not in it much. She's in it like a couple of times, but she's not in it
Okay.
much.
Well, I mean, so far, like, I'm only like 3 episodes in still, so I'm enjoying it for the moment. Like, I, so I'll give it a pass, I guess. As long as she's not insufferable, I can tolerate it.
She's not insufferable. She's just kind of there. She's kind of there for blah, blah, blah. What's the word? Exposition
Exposition. Okay,
purposes. Yeah,
gotcha. Fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah. So like,
Um,
you don't have to suffer with her for an entire episode, but she is there. I'm just like, because you're just like, I can't stand Kat Dennings. I'm like, oh, you're not gonna enjoy it anymore.
yeah, look, there's quite a few people I can't stand, but that doesn't mean I can't tolerate them, so it's fine.
Yeah,
If it's a little
that's
bit,
fair.
yeah. Uh, I just couldn't like again. She could be a nice person. She could be a better performer, but every time I think of her in the Dark World, I'm like, oh my god, just leave, piss off. I don't want you
Yeah.
here. You
Fair
and
enough.
your intern.
Oh God, I know. This is my intern. Like, why do you need an intern? You're an intern, you dummy.
Uh, yeah, but yeah, Thor: The Dark World. It's a shit film, so yeah, make of that what you will.
I I remember rewatching it. I'm still going through my Marvel marathon. I'm on Black Panther now, and I'm kind of sad because I'm like Chadwick Boseman was a good actor, and now he's dead.
Yeah, it's a shame it wasn't a better film.
Did you not like Black Panther? Fair enough.
I have big issues with Black Panther, which is a conversation for another time.
Fair enough. Maybe we could talk
um,
about it
one day.
one day. But yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you know what? Deal with our tangents. They happen.
Oh yeah, that was a tangent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything significant besides what we've spoken about that you want to bring up about this film, or is that you all tuck it out?
No, I'm happy to keep talking about it. I'm just kind of. I like that the ending was quite divisive because a lot of critics are like, "Blah, it's a bad film because sad."
Because,
I remember one critic actually said that the casting choice of um Carey Mulligan was a weird choice, and I'm like, no, it wasn't a weird choice. Why do you think that? Like, I think he didn't mean to, but it kind of said it's surprising that Margot Robbie's not playing this role, and I'm like, what? That's just kind of you would expect Robbie to play this kind of role, and
oh yeah, I remember that. Wasn't it like, oh, because
yeah,
Margot Robbie was one of the producers and people that got it going?
yeah,
Like,
it's a production company that basically were like, yeah, let's make this film, and then
yeah, I can see
and
Margot
then
Robbie doing
the
this, yeah.
I could, yeah, but I think that side the director was like, well, no, I don't want Margot Robbie to do it because you know, because it's like, oh, she's supposed to be all this sexy, put on the costume and stuff, and like, she's not. I don't know how to explain. She's not putting a costume on. She's just wearing clothes. Like, I get it. She's getting made up, but like anybody would get dressed up to go out to a club. So when I was reading that, I was like, what are you trying to say, man? Like, are you saying that people put costumes on to go out? Like, people just wear clothes, and I think that's one of the things the film's trying to say is like the first guy who basically tries to take advantage of her, she's wearing a freaking business suit, and a lot of the time people are like, "Oh, what were you wearing?" Like that's a factor, and I'm like, she's wearing a business suit. She's got messed up hair, so her makeup's running all over the place. She's not dolled up, and she's not wearing a costume.
Yeah,
That's
yes,
my opinion on it.
that's fair. I don't think I read all of it. Or even if it's the same article, even
Yeah.
so.
I read
Um,
it all because I was like, I want to give the guy the benefit of the doubt because I don't think he was deliberately saying, "Oh, she's not hot enough." I think the guy was trying to suggest that Margot Robbie would be suited to the role for personality wise, but I'm like, Margot Robbie has played Harley Quinn, who does not care if she murders people or not. Like this character is still grounded in reality. I'm not saying Margot Robbie couldn't do that. I'm just saying, like, I feel like that would be a typecast for her.
yeah, I mean, I guess like if you were to ask me, oh, it's like you've got Margot Robbie there as well. It's like which would you pick? It's like I can see Margot Robbie doing this as well. I mean, if she's producing, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, like it's a bit weird that she's producing and not acting in it when it's the kind of role she would do. But yeah, I guess. But then again, I don't have the context for this article, so I don't
Yeah.
really know much else about it. So I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, this guy's being a misogynist, and I'm like, I get the guy wasn't. I don't think he was intentionally trying to say she's not hot enough for the role. I think he just kind of missed the point. I feel like he didn't watch the whole film. That's what I feel like. I feel like he watched the first half and didn't, or he's seen trailers or something. It doesn't feel like he watched it.
I mean, based on what a lot of reviewers and critics put out these days, I doubt they watch half the things they talk about, and if they do, they're not paying attention. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Also, like, I feel like I don't know how to explain it. I feel like
just say, bro.
there. I feel like Carey Mulligan is more. It's like interesting for her to play that role because it's not a kind of role that she would do, and I feel like that kind of adds to the realism because it's a person that, it's just like it makes it feel more realistic because she does look a little bit older in the film, and that's another thing. Like people seem to think that it's an age thing that oh, if you're young and dumb, like that factors into it, stuff like that.
Okay, so just to play devil's advocate, Margot
Sure.
Robbie always also played Tanya Harding as well. That was a less than
I know.
flattering character. So
Yeah, that was a really
no,
good film and I enjoyed it.
yeah. So knowing that, like, um, do you think that you feel Cara Mulligan is a good choice for this role because it was her, as opposed to like, would you have? I'm just curious. Would you have felt the same if Margot Robbie was the person who played it? Would you feel she would have been like just as believable? It's just that we
Yeah,
just saw Carey Mulligan. That's all it is.
yeah. I I think both of them are really good, talented actresses that could pull this role off. And I kind of see why the director chose to go with Carey Mulligan because she wouldn't be typically chosen for this kind of role. And she's done this with all of the cast. Like she's cast Adam Brody as an asshole. She's cast
I mean,
mm,
not gonna lie, like when I saw Adam Brody behave the way he did, I was like, oh, so we're getting Jennifer's body, Adam Brody, gotcha. Rather than
yeah,
the OC Adam Brody.
yeah, yeah. I just think because she just chose actors that you would normally think would be in this type of movie. Like, I was completely thrown off to see Schmidt in the role of an asshole that's like, yeah, let's bury the hooker. But literally, do you know the line where he's joking around and he's like, hey, you killed a hooker, what is this? And I was like, that's Schmidt. That is something the character would say. And I
I
was
mean,
just like, this is weird.
to be fair, before he finds out she's actually dead, though. To
Yeah,
be
I know.
fair.
And then when she's actually dead, it's like his demeanor doesn't even change that much. Like he's still like, oh, it's okay, it's not your fault, and it's like, how are you so flipping calm about that? As
Yeah.
a dead
Um,
person, and you're just like, it's fine, we'll just burn the body.
it's like on the one hand, I admire the Brotherhood. On the second hand, like what the fuck you doing, dude?
Yeah,
Like there are certain instances when you should stick up your bro. Um,
that isn't one of them. Murder
bur-
is
bur-
not one of them.
burning a body is my like that is hardcore.
Yeah, he's the guy who sent the video around as well, and I'm just like, it's creepy.
Yeah, was he the guy who
So
filmed
he
it?
he was the guy who filmed it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I just
Hmm.
yeah. Ah, I do love when the one of her old friends. I do love the scene where she's talking to her and she's like basically asking her opinions on stuff, and she's just coming out with stuff like, "Oh, guys want to date a feminist in college, but then they don't want a working woman. They want a good girl." And then it's like, "What are you talking?" But I genuinely heard people talk about that, like talk about feminists as like as if they're like just a phase kind of thing.
A fetish.
And I'm just yes, and I'm just like that's just really gross.
Uh,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's like just some of the stuff she was saying, and it's like that's actually quite shocking. And like when she's like, "Well, so if someone came to you now and said something happened, would you believe them or roll your eyes?" And then she just starts going like, "Well, if you sleep around, you know what you expect, and if you drink too much, then things are gonna happen." And I'm like, literally, you're drinking a lot right now, woman. You're literally is the thing you are saying.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, it just shows you like how some people can just not really, I don't know, not really see that situation as bad.
Yeah,
Or
it
just
goes.
see it as something that just happens. And it's like, it's quite shocking. And honestly, there's a situation that happened to me a while back when I was in a club. It's nothing like major. I'm not having a therapy session with you here, don't worry. No, I was holding a camera and I was filming in I think it's the Cavern Club. And I was holding the camera, and bear in mind the uni cameras are quite expensive, are they not? So it's quite scary if you potentially might drop one. So a guy literally grabbed me by my waist and moved me out the way, and I was terrified, literally, of just dropping the camera. I freaked out and started having a panic attack because one, random guy who I don't know just grabbed me, and two, very expensive camera just nearly broke, and I'm having a panic attack. And then people were like, "Why did you have a panic attack?" People grab people in bars all the time, and I was so shocked that this person was just like victim blaming me for having a panic attack.
Yeah.
And it's just like that it's the fact that people can do stuff like that that's quite shocking. It's like they don't see you as a person. It's like they just take the situation and go, "Oh well, it's just something that happens, so you shouldn't panic about it." And I was like, "Yeah, but someone grabbed me. Of course I'm gonna panic because it's like who the hell just grabbed me?"
murder is something that happens as well. Do you
I
want to try
know.
it?
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, I was just so shocked. Like, I felt really bad because it made me feel embarrassed and it made me feel dumb because I was like, well, my brain sort of went, well, you are right, it does happen. But it's like, of course, it's still going to affect me. It's like they seem to think that the people who these things are happening to are just like, it's like they detach from them and don't see them as people anymore. And I feel like that's just kind of how it happens. Like they're just kind of like, oh well, I don't know them, so that it's easy to detach. But when it's like you or someone else you know, then it's suddenly like, oh, actually, yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah, it goes back to what we started this conversation with. Interestingly enough,
Yeah,
it's always different when it's someone you know or if it's you personally.
yeah,
Whereas if it's someone else, there is the stranger aspect that makes it very detached
yeah,
from your perspective.
yeah.
Um,
You almost go, I'd do this in that situation, so you should have done this in that situation, and
yeah,
it's like
um,
people are different.
only because we started playing it the other day. The Last of Us is a great example of this. The ending with Joel, you know what
Yeah,
happens.
I do.
Okay, so because you played
Oh,
as
wait,
Joel,
if
you
David's
understand.
watching, does David know how it ends?
I'm
Because
not
he's
gonna
playing it.
say. I'm not gonna say exactly what
Okay,
happens.
okay.
I'm just gonna say that because you played as Joel for so long, his actions at the end make sense to you and you are on
Yeah.
board. But if you're
Hmm.
going to be going from someone else's perspective, it's like, dude, why are you doing that, dude? So it's
Yeah.
because of that personal connection. I can't believe I brought a game into this, but it's sad
It's
because,
fine. We do it all the time.
yeah, there's always that personal connection that helps to ground it for what it actually is, or rather than what the potential of it could be had it happened
Yeah.
to you, or whether it didn't happen to you, or if it's something that happened to a friend of yours. So there's
Yeah.
always that personal feeling that needs to be taken into account, and that's
Yeah.
what this film did kind of well. It got people to say, "Holy
Yeah.
shit, that happened to me." So yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
it's something you realize out of yourself, and sometimes just something nasty's got to happen to you before you realize it yourself.
Yeah. It's so messed up because, again, I do not agree with what she did to that poor woman because she basically made her think that someone had attacked her. But she put her in the same situation Nina was in to make her point, to be like, this is what she went through, and you basically told her that it's crying wolf. And it's like, why would someone put themselves through all this crap for the sake of it? Like, a lot of people are like, oh, they're just making it up. Okay, but why? Because if they make it up, they're gonna get loads of, obviously, when it's found out it's not true, they're obviously gonna get lots of hate. But also, even when it's true, people give you hate. So it's like, it's one of them. Like, why would someone put themselves through that for the sake of it, for just to lie? It just makes no sense if you think about it.
I mean, true, but then again, there are many instances of both guys and girls lying to get what they
Oh
want.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
like,
Oh
both
yeah.
sexes are guilty of this. And
Hmm. But
I think that's kind of what helps contributes to the fact that when it is genuine, it's not taken seriously. So
yeah,
you kind of lose either way for both sexes
yeah,
in this perspective. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. I just think I've lost my train of thought. It's gone bye
it's
bye.
it's illogical, is what we're
It's
trying to say.
yeah. It's like why I don't get. I'm never going to understand people who think people lie. Like, I know people lie, okay? I have a hard time trusting people. I have a hard time believing people, but it's like, if someone says something horrible happened to them, I just kind of, I'm going to believe them until it's proven false because, like, for me, to put yourself through all that just to gain something, oh, well, like, I don't know, that just baffles me, confuses me, I guess.
See, that's also interesting because wouldn't it also depend on who is telling you that as well?
Yeah.
Like if
I,
it's
I guess so,
someone
but
No, I was just going to say that if it's someone that. Okay, so let me put you in a scenario.
Okay.
Um, so you've got two friends, well, two people,
Hmm.
one person you trust and one person who has lied before, cried wolf before, and they both came
Yeah.
up
Okay.
to you and said, "Terrible thing happened to me." Would you believe them both equally, or would you be dubious about one of them?
I would believe them both equally, I think, because just for me personally, if someone's telling me something horrible's happened to them, I want to be empathetic to that. I don't want to be questioning it because it could be true. And then if it was proven like it's not true, then I'd be quite angry with the person and I would call them out on it.
I think.
But I would,
Oh, go on.
I was just saying, but I would choose to believe, even if this person's lied to me before and they come to me and say something bad happened to me, maybe it's naive of me, but I'd believe them
What
because I'd
we've.
want someone to I'd want someone to believe me basically. And even if I didn't know the person and they told me something bad happened to them, I'd believe them because I'd want someone to do that for me. So I guess that's just me being a naive person, but that's how I would react in that situation.
Yeah, if it's a stranger, you're going to assume they've got no reason to lie to you, which is why I made the
Yeah.
scenario specifically person you know lies and a person you know is
Okay.
truthful. But I think what
Yeah.
we've just established is that you are a much nicer person than I am.
Oh yeah. Some might say too nice, but there are instances where I will not be very nice. Like if I don't know, if someone starts attacking me or criticizing me for no reason, then I won't go as easy on them.
Oh yeah, like if like I don't think anyone should go easy on anyone
Yeah.
if they personally are being attacked. Um,
Yeah. I
it's a
guess
bit.
in a way it's
Oh, go on.
I guess in a way it is you just have to if you push me enough then I won't be as nice or as understanding, shall we say.
Yeah. That's why customer service is not something I do anymore.
That's fair. Yeah, I worked in a card shop while Christmas was going on. It's not fun.
Yeah. Like I've shouted at many customers.
I can imagine. I can see you doing that.
I don't know what that. I don't know if that says more about me or anything else, but yeah, I don't have anger issues all the time.
Same.
Is there anything else specifically that you want to talk about this film? Because I've
Um,
kind of been letting you take the charge on this, because this really is something that you're more likely to have a perspective on rather than me.
yeah. I was interested in what you thought of it because obviously from my point of view, I kind of get what it's saying because obviously I'm used to talking about those things because sometimes things like that happen to you. Even if it's like just a small like someone's wolf whistled at you or something. Somebody like women go through at least one of the things that happens in the film. Not being believed or being harassed or being taken advantage of. One of those things is bound to have happened to you. Unfortunately, that's the sad truth.
Yeah, and
And
it's kind
obviously
of
you don't.
universal because it's more likely for women, I'd say,
Yeah.
statistically. But yeah, everyone
Yeah.
goes through that at one point in their life. So
Yeah. But I'm sure there's a lot of men where they've had situations where someone's not believed them or have taken advantage of them. So I feel like that, like, I'm glad that the film kind of said, look, women are not immediately like
faultless.
blameless, you know. Yeah, because like the attitudes that the two women in this film have that that Cassie like confronts is they very much do the whole distance themselves from the situation or just go, well, it happens. Like they just kind of don't seem to feel any remorse or seem to feel any responsibility in the situation at all. And it's just like, see, like that's kind of also what's adding to the whole not being believed is like, I don't know, I feel like it's more horrible when you go and tell a woman what's happened to you, and if they go, oh, well, I don't believe you, or that stuff happens, I feel like it's more it's horrible because it's like I thought you would understand from that kind of perspective.
Yeah, I don't like um, until someone proves me utterly wrong. I think it's just a matter of, um, on the one hand, depending on who you are, you're more
Yeah.
likely to be believed 100% um, without any question, or you're going to be ignored. And it's the same for men as well.
Yeah.
Most times, it's like, oh, dude, you had a girl go after you, man. I wish I had that. It's just, I'll laugh it off,
Yeah.
bro. That kind of
Oh
thing.
yeah. Oh,
So,
I saw a YouTube video and basically it had a girl going through and everyone was like, "Ew, get the guy away from her." But there was a guy walking through, I think it was like a shopping center, and this girl was like being really like pushy and like talking about his body, and basically he was like, "No, go away," and like people weren't helping him. Like people were just like, "Oh, what's wrong with you, man? She's really hot," and it's like, yeah, but it doesn't give her the right to be a jackass to the guy. And it was just really shocking that people were willing to just ignore that. But when it was happening to a woman, obviously they were like, no, get the fuck away from it. But it's like,
yeah.
why didn't you do that for the guy?
Yeah. Like, as much as we may not want to admit it, there is still quite a bit of sexism going around, both ways.
Yeah, on both
Um,
ways, definitely. One thing
so,
I find funny is like someone says like reverse sexism. I'm like, no, it's just sexism. It's not
yeah,
reverse.
it's just, yeah, sexism covers everything, bro. Don't worry about it. It
Yeah.
covers both ways.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people seem to think sexism is just towards women, and it's like, no, it can happen towards men too. It's not
Yeah.
reverse, it's just straight up sexism.
Yeah, it's in the word. Fucking idiot.
Yeah,
But,
I know.
um, but
Don't you just love semantics?
semantics, intonation, they're wonderful. Like,
Yeah,
for instance, that can be a question or the end of a sentence, depending on how you intonate. But it's two
yeah,
words. English language is so broken.
it really is.
um, but yeah, like it's weird as well. Because, for example, if a man, like the mole thing you brought up with the man and the woman and the how one would react and one wouldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, for example, if you go to a club, women always get in for free, guys always have to pay. Okay, fair enough. But also, 10 out of 10, if there's a fight and it involves a guy and a girl, the guy will always get kicked out as well, regardless of who
yeah,
started it.
yeah,
It's a fact of life. Like,
definitely.
there are some instances where women have a benefit, and there are some instances where men have a benefit, and either
Yeah.
way, it's sexist. It's not balanced.
Oh, yeah. It's not. It's definitely not. Like, yeah.
What this conversation has done is made me think that Thanos in Endgame had the right idea. Humans should just leave.
Yeah. I think people just need to be better, but like I feel like humanity as a whole, there are too many assholes.
Yeah. There's always that one fucker spoiling the film for everyone.
Yeah. Ugh.
Like us. Haha.
Yeah.
But at least we give you some sort of
Uh,
spoiler warning.
yeah. I mean, I feel like it's good to go in because I kind of read ahead to make sure there wasn't anything there that would trigger me because there are some things in films that I just can't watch because they just make me they just give me panic attacks and stuff. And part of me was like, I should just get over that because I want to be a filmmaker. But I was like, no, I do have to look after myself mentally. So if there's things in a film that I can't watch, then I just have to accept that and just take care of myself. So
Yeah. And it depends on just how severe everything is as well. Like, if it is
yeah,
something that can be taken care of with gradual conditioning, that's one thing. But if you genuinely
yeah,
can't, then, you know,
Yeah, like if it's physically distressing, because like there are some things that it physically makes me feel sick and physically just makes me feel bad for like the rest of the night, then I'm like, I shouldn't really be putting myself through that. Like that's not gonna help me in the long term in terms of being a filmmaker, really. If it's just if I watched a film and it was distressing to me, it's just like that it's not gonna help me, is it?
Mm.
So there are some things I will avoid watching, but this one I felt like I had to give it a watch because there was so much conversation going on about it, and I was like, I'm interested.
So could you sit through it without any issues?
I did manage to sit through it without any issues, and I was impressed that I managed to deal with the smothering scene because it was not easy to watch, but I didn't have to turn it off, and I managed to get through it without there being a problem. But I don't think I'd be able to. I'm like I was genuinely gonna turn it off when it got to that point, rewatching it. I was just rewatching it to refresh. Because it goes on for 2 minutes.
It is a decent chunk.
Tough scene. Yeah. It reminded me of drink scene, but obviously that's just someone drinking a cup of tea for 2 minutes. When it's someone being like literally smothered, it's a bit different. But I couldn't help it. I was like, oh, this just reminds me of the tea scene.
Oh. Like, the fact that that's what this reminded you of is like, holy shit, what do you think of Chrysalis, man?
No, I just the length of the shot. I wasn't like the subject matter. Come on. I
Yeah,
think maybe
I get
that's
what
how
you
I
mean.
dealt with it.
Like, better
I
times,
just
better
looked at it
times.
from a filmmaking point of view instead.
Happy, happy thoughts, happy thoughts.
Yeah. And like I read that the director had asked somebody how long it would take for someone to be smothered to death, and I'm like, wow, how did that conversation go down?
I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah, I think she was talking to one of her friends who's actually a police officer or a forensic investigator. I think I recheck my sources, but yeah, she asked them, and that's why the scene's 2 minutes long
Fair
for
enough.
realism, which is fair enough. But yes, it's like, oh, this is very grim. And what's horrible is the guy literally could have got off her. He didn't need to kill her. The fact that he killed her is just messed up because literally he's heavier than her. She was overpowered. She could not hurt him anymore. He could have just left her. He could have literally just. He overpowered her pretty easily. She was incapacitated. He could have just ran out the room, you know?
Okay, so uh, just to play devil's advocate, if this was like John Wick doing it, I'd be like, okay, yeah, fair enough. He should have gotten off. This was the guy in the middle of his bachelor party, being tied up and being told, "I'm gonna carve names into your body." Pretty
Yeah, I
stressful
get it.
moment.
I get it, but my point is, there's 2 minutes going on there where she was literally incapacitated. She couldn't move. She was screaming. And he just didn't. He was just like, shut up, shut up. He could have literally just ran out the room, but he didn't because when he was stressed, he resorted to violence. And I
By
get
the
it.
way, I'm not saying that is right. By the way, I'm just playing devil's
No, I
advocate.
am.
Just please
No,
understand
no,
that for anyone watching.
yeah. No, yeah, like I get why the end happened. It's just it's kind of to suggest my interpretation of males when they are distressed will just resort to violence. Not all males, probably. I'm just saying in that instance, he literally resorted to violence to try and save his life, and that just kind of brings up like the panic defense.
Conversely, she was threatening and about to inflict violence on him.
That's
So
fine. I get that. I just the
retaliating
fact
with violence is just. But this comes into the area of self-defense, and that was not self-defense. Let's just get that
no.
straight. um,
Like, if he'd have punched her and she'd hit her head on something, that would have been self-defense. But it wasn't. It
yeah,
was he.
this was like third-degree murder, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But
It was like stress. it was like stress brought on the violence, but at the same time, like he actively chose to kill her. Like he didn't have to.
Yeah.
There was no,
Um.
you know, like once he'd got because he got the thing out of her hand. Once he'd gotten the thing out of her hand, he could have run away. I
I
mean, I
mean,
know he was still handcuffed to the
I
thing.
was just gonna
Actually,
bring up.
I'm
Yeah.
just remembering that, and I'm just like, ugh. Just for
Um.
me, it was just like it didn't seem like he needed to go that far.
Um.
He was very clearly terrified of her telling the truth, is what I'm saying. Like, I think he planned to kill her after he realized who she was. And, like, once he'd gotten in the situation where he could kill her, I think that's where his brain went to. I just need to shut her up, basically, is what I think
Yeah, and
the
that
character did.
also. I think we had this conversation as well. Of, oh, do you think she was going to go through with even more, or if she was just gonna stop at the name? We both agreed that
Yeah.
she would have stopped at the name, and that would have been it, and she would
Yeah.
have gotten her comeuppance regardless. But from the
Yeah.
perspective of this guy, again, I'm not saying what he did was right, just in
No,
case.
very
Fucking
wrong.
hell.
Murder
Um,
bad.
like, he had no context. To him, she's just here to get revenge, and there were plenty of other blades
Yeah.
there as well, not just that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
So,
Like,
for all he knew, let her go, comes back with another blade, and the position's given up. So kill rather
I
than
get it.
being killed. So logically, I
Yeah.
get why he did it. Don't agree with it. So yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
touchy-feely issue, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I get why it's there though because that is very realistic. She brought a weapon into the situation, and normally when there's a weapon involved, it's very easy for a woman to be overpowered and attacked. He was
Yeah,
like way bigger than her. There was no way she could have overpowered him.
like
So
if the weapon was not there, it would have been, oh, for fuck's sake, dude, just knock her out. But because the
yeah,
weapon was there, it's like, okay, this can go one of two ways.
yeah. I feel like that's why she specifically had her not bringing weapons into the situation. She was just telling people like, "Get off me." But when she took a weapon into the situation, she was endangering herself as well because obviously he was threatened, and because if you threatened,
You're gonna lash
I guess
out.
for him, you're gonna lash out. You're gonna want to try and defend yourself. And his self-defense went way too far and went way beyond self-defense. It was like, this is not self-defense anymore. You straight up murdered a person.
And this is just me saying it. If he turned himself in after that, I
Yeah.
would have been okay with it.
I
But he
think so
didn't.
too. Like I think yeah, he could have gone. I murdered somebody. I need to pay the consequences for this. But he was still like, oh no, I just need to bury all the stuff I did.
Yeah, or at the very least, like, call the police. No, this happened. She attacked me. Crazy fucking psycho.
Yeah,
Okay, at least you call the authorities. I can give you a pass for
yeah,
that much. But, instead, him and Schmidt just burned the bitch. For lack of a better way of
yeah,
saying it.
yeah. And that just kind of shows that just shows how far they're willing to go to cover up shit.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It's a tough film, but I really wanted to talk about it, and I'm sorry to anybody who's like, "Oh my God, why are you talking about this depressing film? It sounds awful." Well, sometimes I like films that like do that. I don't know. Maybe
Just,
I'm weird.
yeah, Amy, you're never picking a film again, just so you know.
Fine.
um, yeah, like,
But I picked good films before, haven't I?
no, I mean,
Actually, I
to
don't
talk about,
think.
to talk about on stream, I mean, but,
Oh, okay.
I am joking, of course.
I know.
But yeah. um,
Tough subject. I am sorry,
this
but I
is
really wanted to talk about it.
yeah. Like, the only reason I said okay was because you were like of the demographic. Because if I was talking about this with another guy and saying, "Oh, she
Yeah.
shouldn't have done this," I would have been like, "Nah, dude, we're not doing that." Like, it's
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
It's like two dudes talking about abortion. It's like, nah, guys, just stay out
Yeah.
of it. Just leave it
Yeah,
alone.
guys,
It's not.
it's not really to do with you. Stop it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it. And that's good. Because I feel like a lot of guys will watch this and go, "Oh, the director hates men," and it's like, no, the director is just trying to prove a point
yeah, it's
and
really
start a conversation. That's it.
okay. So, how you know if it's pro feminine or anti men is this? I would say is pro women in very weird exclamation marks, but
Yeah.
something like Enola Holmes or The Last of Us Part 2, that's what I call anti men. When every guy's just
Okay.
being shafted despite how nice they're being.
Yeah.
So, big difference.
Yeah. This isn't anti-men. This is kind of like trying to be like, yes, see, the guys who are saying not all men still do really shitty things.
But really, not all men, by the way.
Yes, really not all men. But I hate the people who are like, not all men, when the conversation is being had about a situation. It's like, we know. This conversation is not
Yeah,
about you
like,
if you are one of the men that aren't out there. Because, of course, not all men go out and behave like assholes.
like literally
Otherwise,
speaking, not all men,
yeah,
but it's
I was gonna
because
say,
these things come up as much as they do. That's why.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. It's like if it was literally all men, then I don't think procreation would happen because I feel like eventually the women would be like, well, all men are literally assholes, so why should we?
I mean, if that was the case, I really don't think there would be an option.
Yeah, actually, that's
So,
true.
yeah, that's not the
Yikes.
society we live in. So it's cool.
We
Well, it's cool
we live
now.
in a society.
We live in it. Oh, for fuck's sake, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh dear. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on like the subject matter. Like, if you want to talk about the filmmaking, I am happy to do that too.
no, that was kind of me all done, really. Like,
Oh, okay.
I brought up the songs, I brought up the colors, I brought up the script. I was done like an hour ago, so.
Fair enough.
Like,
I'm sorry.
no, like, nah, it's fine. I really, I don't mind. I mean, if we can go 6 hours on Blind Manor, this is like fucking. This is almost as long as the film.
Yeah.
So,
Fair. I am happy to talk about something happier next week. I think this is just because when I watched this film, it got into my head and I was like, I kind of want to talk about it. And like, you guys are literally just as into films as me. Like, if I talk about this stuff with Ryan, he's kind of like, yeah, that's cool, but he's not really into film. He's more into music. So
yeah, and then
like he's happy to talk about it, but it's not as in depth.
yeah, and then there's the weird fucker that I am. It's like, okay, but to play devil's advocate.
Yeah. I mean, he does that too. He does go like to play devil's advocate as well. Like, because I remember I told him about the catcalling scene, and I completely agree with him on this. He's like, that's not realistic because like she would have like left, or that could have turned violent. And I'm like, yeah, I agree.
Catcalling
Because
scene?
there's a scene at the start where she's walking home from like
Oh,
after
the
she
three construction workers.
yeah, and she stops and stares at them, and they start like being like, "What are you looking at, bitch?" And it's like, genuinely, when you're in that situation and you're being catcalled, like a lot of the times you will just keep going because you're like, I don't wanna have to deal with. And I'm sure some women do like stare back, but I'm just saying that situation can turn violent very quickly. And for me, I was like, I don't like how it was just like, oh yeah, you can just stare them out and they'll leave you alone because it's like that might not happen. Again, this character is not really. I feel like she doesn't
Especially,
care what happens.
especially if the guys have alpha personalities where,
Yeah,
like, nah, come on, you gotta back down to me kind of personality going
yeah,
on as well. So,
yeah,
but yeah, catcalling in films I generally find unrealistic because I just
yeah,
hardly ever hear guys go anymore. It's like
yeah,
I've never
yeah,
heard that, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, like,
yeah.
Which is
I
why when
mean,
it
I
turns
think.
up in Wonder Woman 84, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, guys, come on.
Oh, really? Oh, God. Oh,
Oh,
that's a
like,
film. Oh, wait, we're gonna talk
there's
about that too as well, aren't we? Sometime.
eventually when you guys get a chance
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah.
Which, oh my
Um.
god, that is a film we can go for hours on.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Yeah, I just wanted to sort of talk about it because like I've been catcalled and it's never in the way like it's portrayed in films. For me, it's always been like, oh, actually I've had one guy openly say that I looked like a dude and that kind of I was like, what do you think that is gonna make me then go, oh yeah, you go in with you? I was like, genuinely, what are you trying to get out of that?
Fair enough. I mean, to be
But
fair,
like
like,
it was
okay,
the fact that they went out of their way to get in my face to tell me this, and I was just like, thank you, go away.
well, there are some weird people in the world,
There are.
but yeah, I mean, this was definitely a little bit more of me having to use my brain kind of conversation, where it's like, okay, it's not just
Yeah.
film. I have to really concentrate on what I have to say, just in case something stupid slips out.
The I've probably said something stupid.
I've
I
said plenty of
usually
stupid
do.
things, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
I apologize if I have, and I will try and rephrase it if I've said anything that's not cool.
I ain't apologizing, so deal with it.
That's fair.
It's like what I say without any malice, unless you're a fucking
Yeah.
idiot. So,
Oh, yeah.
I've
Yeah, I think
go on.
as I say, I think I'm all done now.
Yeah, I'm done as well. But yeah, it was a
Yeah.
nifty little film.
Mm.
But yeah,
To
it's.
end on like a sorry, what were you gonna say? And then I'll say
No, I
my
was just
thing.
gonna say that it's nice to watch something new that's consistent, which is the
Yeah.
bare minimum I ask for in films these days.
Yeah, I was watching it thinking there's no really inconsistencies with the story. It's pretty
Yeah.
straightforward.
Characters make
Think you
sense. What they do makes
yeah,
sense. It stays consistent. It's like, oh my god,
yeah,
like what a novel concept.
yeah. Conveniently things happen, but like I gotta give leeway for stuff like that in a film because it's like well, you won't get a plot if things don't happen.
I mean, this is weird because like I'm on my fourth draft of my Violet Evergarden script, and it's like I have like 200-300 words just on coincidence and how one works and one doesn't. So
Yeah.
it's fucking weird that it came up just now.
Yeah.
But
And
coincidence is fine. I don't mind it in a film or TV
yeah.
show or whatever. It just depends on how it's used. If
Yeah.
it's to get the plot going because you wrote yourself into a corner, it's coincidence. That's contrived and that's poor writing. But if it's coincidence that's inconsequential, then it's fine.
Yeah. Like there are so many coincidences in this film. Like Bo Burnham's character just happens to be someone she went to medical school with. Um, he happens to know the guy who, you know, but that makes sense. Like, of course
Yeah,
he'd
it's
know
like
him. Like, they were all in medical school together, and
yeah, exactly. It's like me bumping into you in a cafe. And it's like, oh hey, do you still keep up
yeah,
with that guy? It's like, I mean, no, but I know him. You know.
yeah. And then like the coincidence of him being there as well, which kind of sets off the end of the film, and it's like it's a coincidence, but it works. Like it's genuinely a realistic thing that could possibly happen.
And plus, he was way too nice to survive this film unscathed.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But
I always end up suspecting characters that are nice or that I immediately like because of the boys now.
oh, it's been such an old trope now. It hasn't it? It's like the overly nice person is obviously going to be the
It's a
bad guy.
dick.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
It's a tale as old as
yeah,
time, really. But
yeah. I
do
love
you
how
know?
they do it in Persona 5 as well. Sorry to bring up more games.
Do you know what? I don't care. I still like Akashi.
too. He grows on me, but at the same time, I was like, oh, he's gonna be a bad guy, isn't he?
Yeah, it's like even when he was a bad guy, I'm like, you know what? Your reasoning makes sense, good sir. You had every right to do what you did. I'm not happy about
Yeah,
it, but fair enough.
yeah,
Still got to finish Royale
yeah.
to be honest. Rather.
He's in that more, isn't he? Like has more of a role in that one.
Yeah, he does. We go out clubbing, we play
Yeah.
pool. It's so cool.
Yeah, I remember when Ryan was playing it, he was like, I get to spend more time with Akashi. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, because that's something I really missed in the first game. I was like, oh, we could have done so much with Akechi, but
Yeah,
we never did. And this game, I'm like, oh, I get to just hang out with you. That's cool, dude.
yeah. But when I was playing through it, because I was playing through just the regular Persona 5, Ryan was like, oh, Akachi's got, because he was watching the bit, where he gets shot.
Hmm.
Well, gets shot, quotation marks. He was like, and that is the end of Akechi for now. And I was like, what are you doing? Is he going to come back in the game? And he was like, oh no, I just meant like he'll be back in Royal. And I was like, I hate you.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah. It was just because the way he went, for now. And I was like, oh, is he going to come back? And he didn't come back because obviously I was just playing the regular Persona. I was like, I hate you. You got my hopes up. I thought it might be nice to start talking about something that we actually enjoy rather than something that just makes us think, God, people suck.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the default setting, really. But yeah, absolutely. No, it's cool that we talked about this because it's something very different compared to what we usually talk about.
Yeah.
Because what we usually talk about is pretty mainstream.
Yeah. I
Um,
was fully expecting you to be like, maybe not, because it's a bit different.
I don't fucking care. If you want to talk about a film, let's do it, man. I don't care.
But yeah, it was just because like you were like, what should we talk about? And I was like, there's a film that I really want to talk about. Like I have lots of thoughts about it. So
Like that's
yeah,
the
I
thing.
think this is probably the most I've talked on this podcast.
This, do you know, you probably yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, if someone is passionate about talking about a particular film or series, I'm all up for having that conversation. Like, that's why, like, it's something like The Witcher. I'm like, yeah, I like it, but I'm not like fucking hardcore passionate about it, which is why we haven't done a Witcher
Yeah,
stream. So
yeah,
yeah, like, it's a conversation. I just don't particularly think I'm passionate about it, and you were passionate about this film for positives and negatives alike.
yeah,
So it's a conversation that's worth having. It all depends on how much passion we have for the thing we're talking about.
yeah. I just thought it was a well crafted story as well.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it,
Yeah,
but yeah, I
no,
wasn't pissed off like I
I,
was during Enola Holmes or something like that. So that's always a good
that's
thing.
yeah, like I definitely don't think this is a film that you can be like, oh yeah. It is one of those films that makes you go away feeling a bit crappy and a bit like considering things, re basically just reevaluating things as well. Or
Yeah,
rather just like, yeah, that confirmed how I feel about the world.
yeah, it's more of a confirmation on on my side. It's like, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, what else were you expecting from us? But
Yeah. I don't
which shows, I don't know if that says more about people or me, but hey.
yeah. I want kind of because I do like films that start conversations, but
Oh,
I don't
Amy.
know how to go about it. So, hello? Oh
Oh,
no.
oh,
Oh
yep, you're
no.
fine, you're fine.
Am I? Are you sure?
Yeah,
It's
you just
gone. It's like orange. Oh,
that previous sentence was kind of to me, but aside from, I can hear you, but all right now.
okay, that's fine. I think I was just saying, like, I'm very interested in making like provocative type stories. So I think that's why it kind of interested me. I don't want to make depressing ones, but I do want to make ones that kind of make you think a little bit. And that's kind of a thing I struggle with writing. Because I really do like writing, but I just think I'm very good at it. Yeah.
Good, you added yet at the end.
hmm
um,
Think I was frustrated because this really like writing, but it's like no, it's work. I like this and I'll just be good at it overnight.
Yeah, I mean, it takes loads of time, so it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. And it's quite handy when you have a friend interested in writing and who's very good at critiquing your writing and helping.
Very true.
Tends to help.
Yeah, because you want someone who's going to be brutally honest with you with your
Yeah.
work without saying you're a fucking idiot every 5 minutes. Unless
Yeah.
what you're saying is pretty fucking idiotic, like, I'm holding an apple
Well,
and this
yeah.
is a banana. It's like, no, you fucking
Yeah.
idiot.
Well, no, usually you're just kind of like, I get what you're trying to do, but like, this is kind of why it's not working.
Yeah. Um, that's the thing, like, always attack the work rather than the person. That should always be the rule.
Definitely.
So,
Like, not the first. Like,
yeah.
I had a tutor, like, the university for jobs, and he was very critical of people's scripts. And I had one guy sitting next to me, and he was like, "How can you be so calm receiving criticism like that?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm taking it on board. I'm not gonna get mad because like he knows more than me, so of course I'm just gonna listen to what he's saying. Like he's made films before, so he has experience, and it's like he's not attacking me as a person."
Yeah. And it's going to be up to you whether you take that information on board or not. So, yeah. Do what with the information what you will.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people can't tell the difference between criticism of a thing that you've like a work that you've done and you as a person.
No. Um I mean, I, I I understand why it's like, oh, it's something you poured time into, you
Uh,
like it, you thought you did a good job, and then to have someone say shit, it's kind of demoralizing. But at the end of
yeah.
the day,
Oh yeah.
it's what it takes to be a fucking creative, dude. Get over it.
Yeah.
That's the nicest way I can put it.
Excuse
Bless
me.
you.
Yeah, definitely. It's okay. Ugh.
Um,
I'm
but yeah, I'm basically tuckered out with regards to
all out, yeah.
promising young woman.
Do you want to talk about stuff we watched then? Because we actually skipped that part.
Oh god, yeah. I've just been watching. I watched this, and I
Yeah.
watched. I'm on like episode 6 of One Tree Hill, and I'm like, holy shit, this
Oh,
is
cool.
better than I remember it being, which is weird
Yeah.
because usually it's the other way
I'm
around.
yeah, I'm still going through Gilmore Girls. I'm on season 4.
Oh, is that the Tismy season or the one before the Tismy season?
I think it's the one where Rory's in Yale. She hasn't been kicked out of
Is that
Yale.
the final season before the
No, the
revival?
final. No, there's 7 seasons before the revival.
Okay, so you're still in the good part. Okay.
So yeah, I'm still in a good part before things go like very weird. But I like rewatching it. I'm just like I do not like Rory.
Yeah, I can understand why people don't like Rory. I haven't seen it in like 8 years, so I'm gonna have to watch it again to be sure, but
Yeah.
I don't remember having an issue with her.
No, like when I used to watch it with my friend when I was like a teenager, I had no problem with her. Like I kind of related to her because she likes books and all that, and she's quite introverted. And I
Fucking
feel
nerd.
like I'm a bit similar. Yeah, but then when I rewatched it, I was like, she's a little bit privileged, and she's a little bit like, oh, my nan and granddad have lots of money. I'll just go and rely on it, and I'm just like, ah, that's gross.
Oh, yeah, I'm good. Gilmore Girls. Might have to
Really good.
watch it
I
again
still like
sometime.
it. It's
But
like a comfort watch.
fair enough. But yeah, it's weird. Like One Tree Hill, I'm watching it and they have a couple of monologues, and I'm like, holy shit, these are good. Like, wow, it's
I
weird.
might have to give it a watch because I don't think I watched much of One Tree Hill.
Yeah, like 1 to 4 seasons are the only ones that currently I think are worth watching. But yeah,
Ah,
season 1
fair.
so far pretty decent.
Cool. I've actually been going through The Office as well because I've never actually watched the American one all the way through.
Hmm.
I just know it from memes and whatnot, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, it's a bit of a slog to get through the first 2 seasons. Like, I'm on season 2 at the moment, and I'm like, I'm enjoying it, but it's not making me laugh very much, like
I've
as
only
much.
watched bits and bobs of The Office, both versions, so
Yeah.
I'm
Like it's
enjoying what I
very
watched.
cringe humor. I feel like it's very cringe humor because obviously like some of the characters say stuff and you're just like, "Oh, awkward." That was very awkward and I'm like, I'm feeling more cringy than funny. I don't know.
I
I
like,
guess it's just not for me.
yeah, because there were some instances where it was like awkward, but that was meant to be the point in some scenes. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't
get it.
know.
That's
Then
what I mean.
again,
Like that's why I say cringe humor because they do stuff and you're just like, oh, that was bad idea. It's also really funny, but also very bad idea. But
yeah,
it's not. It doesn't make me laugh out loud. I'm just kind of like, ha, that's awkward.
fair. Um, but yeah, that literally that's all I've watched. So pretty light in terms of watching, unless it's for the stream. So
I've been watching a show called My Name Is Earl with Ryan as well, very
oh
slowly.
my god, I love My Name Is Earl.
It's so good. I can't believe
Oh,
I missed out on it when it was like airing. I was like, oh, this is so funny.
I know. Like me and my dad used to watch it together way back in the day.
Like that has actively made me laugh my ass off so many times. Like
Um,
it's just so funny.
yeah, a lot of the same guys were in the same films in the 90s, the Kevin Smith ones like Mallrats, Chasing Amy, so really cool seeing them together in um, My Name is Earl.
Yeah. Like the characters are all like really horrible people, but like at the same time, I'm like, no, I'm kind of the growing on me.
Yeah, it's like, because they're meant to be, right? And then you got Earl who
Yeah,
had that midlife crisis of accident or whatever, and he's like, you know what, I've been a shitty
yeah,
human being, I gotta make things right. So I thought that was a really cool premise to begin with.
yeah. It's definitely it's kind of what kept me hooked because like things like Always Sunny, I get it, they're horrible people, but like I tried to watch it and it's like I'm just like enjoying this, so I'm out.
Fair. I only know the Pepe Sylvia meme, and that's what I keep
That's
using.
yeah. I only know that meme too, and it's funny, but like generally like trying to watch the first season, I was like, I'm sure this probably gets better, but I'm just like, I'm not enjoying it. I'm literally waiting for the episode to end, and I'm like, it's not worth me watching.
Yeah, fair.
Like, I'm sure some people enjoy it, and that's fair. But I was genuinely bored. So,
Yeah, that's never something you should feel during a comedy.
no.
Right.
I like,
Oh, sorry.
okay. I was gonna say, like, a lot of people are like, oh, maybe you just don't have dark humor. It's like, I have very dark humor.
Oh yeah. Oh Jesus. I don't want to say how dark I dark as far as dark humor goes,
I
because
know.
um, but yeah, like just make sure you give me the context that it's a joke. I'll be fine
Yeah.
after that, you know? Like if you're just gonna
Mhm.
say, "Oh, rape is cool," I'm gonna be like, "Oh, dude, like what?"
Um,
But if you put it in the context of a joke, I'll let you say rape jokes. I'm cool with that, but don't say for real though. That's all I ask.
yeah.
Or snuff films, you know? Go all over the place with snuff films. And that's how it kills the
So-
conversation.
yeah. Also, my internet went funky there. That wasn't just me, like, but I was like, okay, what do I say to that?
Yeah, like just make sure it's a joke. That's all I ask. Don't
Yeah.
actually do those things.
Yes. I think maybe also like be aware of who you're making the joke to.
Yes, know your audience above all
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
um yeah. Right, so now that I've
I
successfully
think
killed the
that's us
conversation,
done.
I think that's a
Oh,
good
it's
place
only
to.
10:30.
It's only half 10, yeah. I mean, um, it is just the two of us as well. So, and we did
Yeah, that's
keep
true.
it to the one film. I mean, if David was here, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it would be 2.5 hours. Like, the more people we have, the more we tend to talk, or the more
Yeah.
things we're covering, rather, even. So,
True.
2.5 hours is kind of decent, all things considered.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Enter at your own behest, check out Promising Young Woman if you want. I will
If
not
you
say
want,
not
I mean,
to,
yeah,
but beware, you will not be comfortable. That's all I'll say.
yeah. It's an uncomfortable watch. So yeah, be very wary if you do watch it.
Right. So, with that out of the way, I bid all of you adieu.
Bye.
Farewell, auf Wiedersehen, adieu.
Yay, he did it.
Yeah. Alright. Bye bye.
Bye.